It was an accident. So I was actually, like I said, I started in construction. I didn't really know anything about real estate. I'd owned houses, early, when I got married in 1990, we bought our first house right away. So what only thing I knew about real estate was just buying a house you live in. And there wasn't a lot of information back in that time frame. Maybe Carlton Sheets was out there, a guy named Russ Whitney was out there, and I read a little bit of their stuff, but never really thought about doing it as a business or a career. Didn't want to be a real estate agent. Back then it was a whole lot different than it is now. And so I started out just by default in the building industry. So I moved to the Outer Banks of North Carolina, a little summer resort area off the coast of North Carolina, in 1997. And I moved there to open a restaurant. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to open a chain of restaurants down there. And I worked in the restaurant industry the first year down there. And that was no fun. Didn't like it. And decided, I bought a house and I was trying to get an addition built on the house, and I couldn't get anybody to call me back. So I started talking to my neighbors and friends, and they're like, oh yeah, everybody's so busy, you can't even get anybody to do anything. Well, I had some construction skills, and I'd always had a little construction side business while I was working in restaurants, and I was a manager in restaurants. So I had some experience. I knew how to hire people, train, manage. And, I was a district manager at one point before I moved there with a chain of restaurants. So I said, well, shoot, where there's a problem, there's an opportunity. So I decided to create a little remodeling company. And, my tagline when I started out was, we will call you back. That alone, it just got me a ton of business. And I'm a marketing expert. And, back then it was all grassroots, offline marketing channels. And, I put the company out there. I found a name that nobody else had that made me look like I was there in business for a long time. Called it Outer Banks Construction. It was the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So it appeared that I'd been there a long time. And I took out full page ads in the newspapers. I took out big full page ads in the phone books for the services I was providing. And I had signs and trucks everywhere. So it looked like instantly overnight, we were this huge company that'd been there forever. So that's kind of how I blew it up and grew it. And I started with nothing. I started with a little credit line on my house and credit cards, and borrowed money to buy vehicles and finance my business that way from the ground up the hard way. You got to build a brand, first and foremost, that's recognizable, easily recognizable. If you're going to use signs, you got to think about who's going to see that sign. Like if it's on a road or in front of a house, if somebody's going by at 25 to 45 miles an hour, they got to be able to easily read that sign very clearly. So it's all about brand, and it's all about promoting that brand and getting yourself in front of people. And, that's really what it's about, is being in front of people, staying in front of people, educating people, putting your brand out there and making it top of mind for everybody who's looking for your service.